The grave types. This is the main topic. Actually, there are just three types of graves that people usually bury in. The first three: the lahad grave, the shaq grave, the plain hole pit grave. These fourth and fifth are mainly the types of plain hole, how you seal the dead. I have some diagrams here. We can explain how the people should be buried, the type of grave itself, how you dig, and so on. So let's see. First one, the lahad grave. Lahad. So this is the graveyard, and you see this blue is like the sky, for example, and people will be on the top standing there. And this is the height. And the lahad, what you do basically is you dig this additional portion and you place the deceased inside this portion. And again, the qibla has to be this way. The head of the person is in this direction and the foot is in the last direction here, the end of it. So the person is always facing the qibla. And you see his turn is not like straight. He's turned towards the qibla. The face, his whole body is towards the qibla. But why do we do this? Why don't we just keep him down? The reason is, the very common rule that we should remember while burying is that in all those situations, in all those different types of grave, the soil should not fall directly on the deceased person. There has to be some protection for him. So if you do it like this, the soil, the people will, when they throw the soil, is going to fall down. It's not going to come here. So that's one way. And you cover this part through like maybe bricks or wooden planks or something and behind him. So it's all covered. So this type of grave is the most preferred type of grave.
That's what they do in Makkah and Medina.
Yeah, even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they made a lahad grave for him, and that's. But sometimes it's not feasible. This type of grave is not feasible. Why is it? Because what happens is, depending on the type of soil, depending on the climate where you are, what happens is this thing here, it starts to collapse quickly and it goes down and hits the deceased person. So that's not good. It doesn't really serve the purpose. So in that case, you have to see, then it's not advisable to go for this kind of lahad grave. Yes. And what about the grave itself? What should be the dimensions of the grave? Generally speaking, depends on the height again. So if the person is 6 feet, you add just an extra feet to it. So 7 feet in length. And the width, of course, it can be about 2.5 feet or 3 feet, depending on the width of the person. And height, it's flexible. It's not like hard and fast rules for the dimensions, but generally that's what is done. Height can be, just about your height, so that it's easy for you to bury. Maybe like a 5 feet, 6 feet, or maybe 7 feet is fine. And the lahad, you see, sometimes it's very close to the bottom, and sometimes they do it in a little bit upper, but both of them are fine. Second one, the shaq grave. So remember, this one was also practiced during the time of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This one takes care of that problem we had earlier on. That is, if the soil in this top part falls down, it will hit the dead person. But in this case, what do? You dig this hole and then another hole, and you cover this top part with something like wooden planks or bricks or some stones, so that the soil again doesn't fall directly on the dead person.
So you can put a stone, normally
Yeah, it's a slab kind of thing, a big stone. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so yeah. And you see again, the person is also facing qibla again. You have to be there to put the body, right? You cannot just throw him. So somebody should have enough space.
No.
We'll talk about
But this one he doesn't have coffin.
He doesn't have coffin. Usually he will be shrouded. And in some cases they use a rectangular slab. Yes. Why is it so deep? It looks deep, but usually it's about our height, 5 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, just for diagram. So if you stand here, your head will be here. Yeah? It's not like you have to jump and take ropes to come back. Alright, so this is the most common that we see around us, the plain grave. It's nothing very different. People stand here and you don't have a trench that you've seen in the earlier figure. But the difference comes how you close the dead body, how you seal the dead body. Again, in this case, if you do like this and you just leave it like this, if you put soil, it's going to fall directly on the deceased person. So you have to do something to avoid that. What can you do? So this is the different kind. So even in this case, grave liners that they use, or the burial vault that they call it, very common here in this country. What they do is they put the dead body inside this, and they take this one and they put it inside the grave, and then they take the slab, the lid, and they cover this up. So in that case, you don't really have to worry about whether the soil will fall or not. But usually we also have seen in many Muslim countries what they do is that they put a slanted or oblique concrete slabs or stone slabs. So if you from all over the body widthwise, if you do like this, it's the soil is going to fall here. Right?
So the soil will fall on the body?
No, it will fall on the stone. It will not fall on the body. That's the whole point. But in this case, since it will be covered, there will be nothing to worry about. But you have to make sure that in this kind of graves, sometimes they make these slabs or containers with stainless steel or copper and various other metals, plastic. But we have to make sure if we can get a lahad or can get a shah, we can get those concrete slabs even. We have to go for, this is the closest one that we can go, the concrete, the grave liner or burial vault. And make sure it's only made of concrete, not other materials. But sometimes the government has restriction. They say, no, it has to have this material. Then you don't have any chance. And why we should be particular about this? Because, it should try to resemble the earth as much as possible. We came from earth and we return to earth. It's not allowed, actually. People put the dead body inside a casket and they put this whole container inside the grave. Generally the practice of the Christians and other religion. So the scholar said this is not allowed. First of all, why? Because it is the imitation of the kuffar, imitation of the non-believers. So they were the one who started, and we have our own rituals, we have our own practices. We cannot just copy from them because it looks good. And the second reason that they give is that these things that you see it's like a very fancy place. These things are very expensive. It's not so easy to buy them. So it's a waste of money. It's a waste of money. You can't go for such kind of things. But sometimes government places a restriction that you have to use a casket. Why? Because they say that, hey, you know what, this place that you're burying, it's like a flood zone, or something that can damage the grave or the dead body, so you have to use something like that. They put some restrictions sometimes. And sometimes in some places there's a scholar said if you fear wild animals that dig the body up or dig the grave up, so in those situations you can use such kind of cover. But generally speaking, normal situations, this cannot be used, should not be used. Yes.